I invite you right now. It is 6, so we're going to get started. Hello, nice to see you all. Thank you for tuning in. All right, if you'd like to grab, if you have yoga blocks at home, or if you have a couple of pillows, just to give yourself some back support and some knee support. So we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. It's a nice hip opener because we've all been sitting a lot, right? Lots of stagnancy, or maybe you've been walking a bunch and then you're overusing those muscle groups. So let's come into a nice hip opener. So you can go ahead, come to lay down on your mat and let your shoulders kind of melt into the earth. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open like a book. And then you can just relax back. So you're lying down, feet together, knees open. And you can place pillows underneath your knees because this can become an overstretch in that front hip area if you're there for too long. So having that support can actually allow you to get a little bit deeper into the pose without overstretching. Having that support is important right now, you know? So we're going to come into this. If you'd like to place 2 hands on your stomach, 1 hand on your belly, 1 hand on your heart, or just let your arms be off at like a 45-degree angle with the hands off the mat, palms facing up. Whatever is clever for you right now. Your eyes can softly close or they can remain open. Once again, hello to everybody who's tuning in right now. Right now we're starting lying on our backs with the soles of your feet together and your knees opening like a book. So yeah, awakening the conscious self. It's a lot of intense verbiage right there. Hi, Mom. So really quick, while we are laying here, if you would like to place 1 hand on your stomach and 1 hand on your heart, these are the chakra centers that we are going to be focusing on throughout class, is connecting the 3rd chakra, which is the top of the bottom 3, right? There's 3 in the base of the body, and then there's the heart chakra, and then there's the 3 on top, the throat, the 3rd eye, and the crown. So, to connect those 2, to connect the heart and the solar plexus, the 3rd and the 4th chakras, is a very intense connection, and it's something that is absolutely needed to bridge the mind and the body, the base and the top, yeah? So our energy bodies is really what we're going to focus on this evening, because the 3rd chakra center is about personal power. It's about the development of the ego. The bottom chakra centers in general are about our relationships to the external world around us. The 1st chakra is about the connection to the community. The 2nd one is, or like family, so community or family is the 1st chakra. The 2nd one is about personal relationships and how you kind of interact with people one-on-one, whether it's romantic or not, or family or friend, and seeing what they mean to you. And then the 3rd chakra center, the solar plexus. So if you haven't already, place that hand on your stomach and inhale deeply through the nose, breathe in through the belly. And on your exhale, maybe you feel that your knees get a little bit heavier. Hello to everyone who's just tuning in. Supta Baddha Konasana, laying on your back, soles of the feet together, knees are open like a book. And if you'd like to put those props or pillows underneath your knees for that support, it makes it a little bit more comfy for you. So we're breathing into this 3rd chakra center, the ego. This is the one that's really hurting right now, because we don't have a lot of external stimulation unless you're glued to your phone all day, and that's not good for you either. So breathing into this personal fire right at the solar plexus. It's a nice soft yellow glow, and as you inhale deeply, it can get really bright and golden like the sun, and then as you exhale, it gets a little bit smaller and diminishes. So it's at the bottom of your rib cage where your diaphragm is, so connecting this to breath is really, really nice, a nice way to start to come into the body. Let your shoulders melt into the earth. And as you do that, feel the collarbone spread and get that nice gentle stretch all throughout the chest, and it opens the heart chakra even further. So every deep breath that you're taking right now is a nourishing, beautiful connection between getting into your body, getting out of your head, and allowing your breath to really, it's like it's the power supply to your control system right now, okay? So breathing in super deeply And long exhales out through the nose as well. Allowing those shoulders to fall away from the ears and to melt into the earth, opening up that heart chakra even further. If you'd like another visual, you can also imagine pink or green light within the chest, that on every inhale gets brighter and bigger, almost encases your body maybe at the top of the inhale, and then you exhale and let that come back into the heart space and get nice and tall, little ball of light. And as you inhale, it all expands, right? So breathing into the solar plexus and the heart. Bringing some relief into the body. Some softness to areas that feel tight or tense, maybe even hot or tingly. If the brain starts to wander, go ahead and bring it back to noticing your inhales through the nose that go down to the belly and fill the belly very deeply. And then exhale, also out the nose. Feeling the chest fall with the stomach in tandem. And on the next inhale, yes, in tandem again, they rise together. And as you exhale, they fall together. Together, one more inhale here, and a long exhale out the mouth, a sigh. You can release your hands from the belly and the heart and take them to the outside edges of your knees. Gently close your knees like a book, and then heel toe your feet out to the outer edges of your mat and let your knees fall together. If you do have a pillow or a block, a prop right now, I invite you to go ahead and grab that. And what we're going to do from here is we're just going to do a little bit. So this knees knocked together is a nice counter stretch for that hip opener that we started in. And we're going to do one more here, but it's going to be a supported bridge pose. So you're going to take the prop and put that right underneath the small of your back. So if you're sitting up, actually you're laying down right now, sorry. And your knees are knocked together. So from there, go ahead and lift your pelvis up and then put the prop right underneath the small of the back. And from there, you're just going to kind of hang out, and the knees can open a little bit, or they can stay knocked together, whatever is more comfortable for you right now. But just allowing the traction and the space in between each lumbar vertebrae to lengthen and get longer. As you're breathing here, maybe noticing if there are any kinks in the low back from lifting it up. My low back is definitely super duper tight right now because I haven't really moved a ton today. I did a bunch of taxes and a lot of sitting and a lot of hunched over activities, so. To get into some movement here, go ahead and walk the heels in toward the glutes as if you could touch them with your fingertips. Lift up, remove the prop if you have one, and then slowly roll all of the way down to the mat. So we'll do a couple more movement linking to breath here, starting to warm up the spine. So walking those heels in toward the glutes as if you could touch them with your fingertips. And then on an inhale, lift the pelvis up. If you'd like to interlace your hands at the small of your back, you may do so. If that means you roll your shoulders under your chest, then awesome. Go ahead and do that. Squeeze the knees together as if there were a block between them. And on every inhale, you lift through the abs and the quads. And on your exhale, relax the hips. To come out of this, inhale up to tippy toes, sweep the arms up overhead, and then slowly lower down all of the way in one piece. So you're going to go ahead and continue to do that to your own breath. So on an inhale, you lift the pelvis and the hips up to the ceiling. You need to roll your shoulders underneath and interlace your hands at the small of your back. You can do that. And when you're ready to come out, you inhale, lift up to tippy toes, swing the arms up overhead, and then on your exhale, you roll all of the way down to the mat until the hips are back on the ground. One more time. Inhale, lift up through the pelvis. Interlace the hands or roll the arms under the chest. Squeeze those knees together. Lift higher on the inhales. On every exhale, you relax the glutes. Final inhale, come up to the tippy toes, swing the arms up overhead, slowly roll down all of the way in one piece. On an inhale, bring your knees into your chest, bring your arms down, give them a hug, roll around, make little circles on the small of your back, massaging your low back even further. Next, we're going to come into some nice spinal twists. So your arms can come out in a capital T off of the edges of your mat, palms facing down. And then I'm just going to lower the knees right over to the right. You can look over the left arm, out over the left shoulder if that's comfortable for your neck. And while you're here in this twist, really focus on allowing the left shoulder to melt deeper into the mat if you feel some space underneath it. Really try to let that go and see if you can connect it to the mat. If you can't, that's okay, but this is about allowing the gravity to stretch through the left pec into the left shoulder to get that a little bit closer to the earth. And the more you can allow that to happen, the more you can release that left shoulder right now in this right twist, because your legs are to the right, you're looking out over your left. So the more you can relax into that left shoulder, the deeper the twist will become. Sometimes it's hard to breathe in twists, so please breathe very deeply, even though you're in this position where you feel like you may not be able to breathe all of the way in. It's still important to breathe. Don't hold your breath. So in this twist, knees are over to the right. You're looking over your left shoulder. Breathe into this. You're wringing out your organs. You're wringing out your solar plexus. This is a wonderful energy center to twist into. Because think about it. All twists happen from this core area, right? From the spine and from the core. That's where we twist. So wring that out. Get rid of all of those toxins. Get rid of all of the pain that we have from not being able to see each other by breathing into this energy space, remembering that you do have personal power, and it's not just about getting the approval of the outside world. This is about creating your own worth, right? Awakening that conscious self, so then you can eventually move up into the fourth chakra, which is your emotional power, and that's where self-love can come in, and that's where the healing begins. So to come out of this twist, inhale, bring the knees up through center. Go ahead and take them right down over to the left on an exhale. And then look out over your right shoulder. Slow, deep breaths into this twist. Where are you feeling this right now in your body? Is it in your low back? Is it in your hip? Is it the outer right thigh? Is it in your right shoulder? Allow that shoulder to melt a little bit closer to the earth at this time on your exhale, softening that space. Couple more deep inhales and exhales here. If you'd like to take one hand to your stomach and one hand to your heart while you're in this position, you can absolutely do that, because sometimes the physical connection of 2 points, by connecting them with your hands, sometimes that physical connection of connecting them with your hands can let the energy flow a little bit better, and it brings your mind to the attention of connecting the 2 points that you're touching. One more deep inhale here and a long exhale. Sigh out the mouth. If your hands are on your belly and your heart, release them to that capital T, palm facing down. Use the core. Inhale, bring the knees back up through center. Go ahead and start to roll back and forth. And then go ahead and come on up to seated, or just roll over to your right side and push yourself up. We're going to come into tabletop, do a little bit more spinal warming up. Because this cat and cow sequence that we do also gets really into the solar plexus and the heart chakra centers. So once again, opening these up and letting energy start to flow more naturally and more fluidly than maybe it has been maybe earlier today or just in general for the past month. All right, so in this tabletop position, your wrists are stacked under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Your gaze is a couple of inches out in front of your fingertips to allow for a nice neutral neck alignment. You're not looking directly down in between your hands. You're looking a couple inches above toward the top of your mat, yeah? On an inhale, lower the belly, lift the heart, spread across the collarbones. And on your exhale, round through the shoulders, tuck the chin into the chest, push the mat away from you. Really get into those shoulder blades here, right? Inhale, lift and lower. So lowering the stomach, lift the heart, spread the collarbones. Look up. Not all the way. That's too much strain on your neck. And then exhale, push the mat away from you. Push the tops of the feet into the mat. Draw the belly button into the spine. Inhale, release, and lift the heart. And begin to flow through this to your own breath, linking breath to movement. Inhale to lift. Exhale, tuck and push the mat away. Keep going, linking this breath to movement, creating that mind-body connection. Maybe try closing your eyes for the next couple ones here. Closing my eyes, I should say, is a huge intensification, and it makes yoga really, really difficult. For me, anyways. It's a huge intensification, but it's really nice when you're in these very safe, secure, sturdy poses, so you can close your eyes and really just get into your body and feel each breath and each movement. A couple more, couple being 2. And last one. Go ahead and come back to neutral. Go ahead and lower the hips down over the heels. Take your hands out, down along your sides, and bring your forehead to the mat. So it's kind of like child's pose. If this is too much and it's uncomfortable with your belly on top of your thighs, please take the knees wide and bring the big toes to touch and come down into the full expression of child's pose. But if you would like, this one's called Balasana, I believe. Yes, Balasana. And so that one is with the knees together and forehead comes to the earth and the arms are down along the sides. And just resting after that period of movement of loosening the spine and waking that up, and now you come down to this resting pose and let the spine kind of settle. Let the energy settle. Breathe in deep through the nose, feel the belly, inhale and fill like a balloon, maybe it touches the tops of the thighs, and then exhale. Really feel a lengthening, let the gravity pull your spine and your postural muscles a little bit deeper toward the ground here. Breathe. All right, let's start to come out of this. Walk your hands back in towards your pelvis, or bring your hands back out in front of you. Bring your knees back in under your hip points. Pull yourself back up to that tabletop position. Hands are sealed to the mat. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, come into your first down dog of the evening with me. Maybe you did one earlier today. If so, brownie points for you. Pedal out your feet. Really get comfortable. As comfortable as you can in this inverted pose. I can really feel all the desk work I did today because my mid back is super, super tight. And as we settle into this down dog here, maybe you lower both your shins to a hover. Take a deep inhale through the core, get strong through the core, and then exhale, lift the hips and straighten the legs. Really push through the elbows and the armpits. Really, really push the mat away from you here, just like we did in cat, right? On an inhale, come up to both tippy toes, look between your hands, and then glide forward to upper push-up position. And from upper push-up, stay nice and strong through the core. On your next exhale, go ahead and bend the elbows in toward the side bodies, lower all of the way down in one piece to the mat, and untuck the toes when you arrive. Feet are pressed, the tops of the feet are pressed very, very strongly into the mat. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and come up for a couple of inches for that little baby cobra. And then exhale to release. Take the hands off of the mat. Spider fingers, you're up on your fingertips. And then inhale up for another one. This is really spreading through that heart chakra, yes? Exhale, release. One more time, inhale, lift up. Use the core, that strong energy, to lift the heart. It's not so much exhale to release. It's not so much that you're pulling with the chest to lead. You're engaging the core to pull the chest up. So once again, the third chakra center and the fourth chakra center physically working in tandem together. All right, so one more here. Inhale, engage the core, lift up through the chest. Spread those collarbones. And then exhale, release. Bring your hands back in towards your side bodies. Go ahead and just push up through hands and knees, so come up through your knees, and then tuck the toes, lift the hips, come back into down dog. Awesome. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk or jump, feet to hands. Inhale up for a halfway lift. And then exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Bring the hands down through heart center. And then release your hands. Let them come down to your sides. Palms facing forward. This is Tadasana, this lovely mountain pose. You're really, really strong in the legs. The knees have a little micro bend in them, so you're not totally locking out the knees. Make your muscles do the work. Don't pour the weight into your joints, because that will deteriorate them over time. Even faster than they already are. So protect your joints. You'll miss them when they're gone. Inhale, look up, reach up. Grab the left wrist with the right hand and exhale over to the right. Inhale, back up through center, switch the grip, and then exhale over to the left. Pause, maybe look up at the ceiling. Inhale, back up, switch the grip. Again, over to the right. Look up at the ceiling maybe. Inhale, back up through center, switch the wrist, and exhale over to the left. Inhale, back up through center, look up, reach up, and then go ahead, bring the hands down through heart center and forward fold over your legs. Inhale up for that halfway lift, a little micro bend behind the knees, and then exhale to release. Plant the hands, step it back to upper push-up position. Begin to hold here. And on your next exhale, lower down to the mat in one piece. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Inhale up for that little baby cobra. And then exhale to release. Tuck the toes, push up through plank or through hands and knees, and then come back to down dog. Let's do another hip stretch here, shall we? So from this down dog, inhale the right leg up to hip height. Really focus on internally rotating and pointing the toes and the knee down toward the earth. You don't want them pointing out to the side. You can't even see my toes when I do that. So I really want to be able to, point those toes and knee down to the earth. Bend at the knee, stack the hips, open across the hip. Look in between the hands on an inhale. Exhale, sweep the right foot through, bring it up. Lower the back knee down. So the right foot is in between the hands right now. Untuck the back, left toes. Back knee is down. Inhale, rise up. For modified crescent. Relax your shoulders away from the ears. On an exhale. On an inhale, we get nice and tall. Then exhale, we settle and bring the shoulders away from the ears and soften spaces. Make sense? Inhale, reach up, look up. Bring the left hand down to the inside of the right foot. Twist open to the right. Stacking the shoulders. Look down at your left foot, your left hand. Tuck the back left toes. Come up off of that back knee. Swivel the back heel down. Open up to warrior two. Beautiful. So you just went from a twisted, modified crescent lunge right up into a warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, bring it back. Bring the right elbow down to the right knee. Let the left hand come up. This is called side angle. bend a little bit deeper into that front right knee. You have that nice 90-degree angle. If you want to take the top of the left hand to the small of the back to really stack the shoulders and open across the heart, you can. Engage through the core. We don't think about our core very often here, but if you engage through the core, you actually get really, really light in that right elbow. Instead of dumping all of your weight into that front right leg and elbow, you really want to stay light, right? Look down at your front right knee. Bend a little bit deeper into it and then bounce right up off, using the core to come back up. Inhale, flip the front palm, bring it back, and then exhale. Cartwheel the hands forward, come up to the toes of the back foot. Step the left foot up to meet the right at the top of your mat. Now you're back in that forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift, and then exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up, sweep the arms up. Bring the hands down through heart center, and forward fold over the legs again. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Step the right foot to the back of the mat. Lower the back knee down. Untuck the right toes. Top of the right foot is pressed against the mat. Now you're in this modified crescent lunge on the left leg forward, right? Next inhale, rise up if you haven't already. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe. Where's your breath? Did your mind wander away, or is this enough physical movement to connect your mind to your body in this present moment? How deep can you fall into focusing on your body and your breath? Go ahead and lower the right hand down to the inside of the left foot and extend the left arm up to the ceiling. Tuck the back right toes, come up off of the back right knee. Swivel the back heel down and open right on up to Warrior Two on the left. Inhale, flip the front palm. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, come back forward using the core to pull the elbow down to the knee and then send the right hand up. Maybe taking the top of the right hand to the small of the back to really stack those shoulders and look up toward the ceiling if you'd like, if that's comfortable for your neck. Look down at your front knee, bend a little bit deeper into it, bounce back up using the core to rise. Inhale, flip the front palm, exhale, bring it back. Don't lose the integrity of the front knee. Cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Come into plank. And on your exhale, bend the elbows in toward the side bodies, lower all of the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Maybe take the hands off for that lifted fingertip, striking cobra pose. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and lower. Bring the hands back in toward the side bodies. Push up to hands and knees. Bring the knees back underneath the hip points. So you're going to bring your legs in a little bit. Take the knees nice and wide, big toes to touch. Lower the hips down over the ankles and come back into child's pose. That was a ton of flow for this class. Usually I don't do that much movement, but it just felt right. Taking a moment to reconnect to your breath if it got choppy during all of that movement. We'll start to warm down some here, okay? Really breathing in deeply through the nose to fill the belly, and on your exhale, the belly button draws up toward the spine and empties out. All right, to come up out of this child's pose, you walk your hands in towards your pelvis. Bring your knees together. And we're actually just going to roll right over. So bring your knees out from underneath you. Swing your legs around and extend them out in front of you. Stay nice and flexed through the feet as if you could put footprints on the wall in front of you. Let's inhale, bring those arms up, get tall to the crown of the head. And then exhale, forward fold. Breathing very deeply here. Bowing the heart forward. It's almost kind of like a salute to the bottom 3 chakras when you bow forward seated like this, or bow forward when you're standing. It's kind of like a salute, bringing the heart closer to these 3 chakra centers that we talked about at the beginning of class, that build up your roots, your support. The bottom 3 chakra centers, root, sacral, and solar plexus, are all developed at younger ages. So it really is kind of like the basis of what we're given in life. And obviously, it's, it's our choices on how we deal with stuff. But those 3 chakra centers develop when you're younger, when you're making all of your first decisions. To come out of this inhale, slowly rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Relax the shoulders away from the ears when your spine is nice and stacked. Let's do this one leg at a time. So bring the right sole of the foot in to touch the inner left thigh. Turn your shoulders toward that left extended leg. Stay nice and flexed through the left ankle. Inhale, bring both arms up. And then exhale, forward fold. If you would like to make this more of a side body stretch, take the right hand to the top of the knee, the shin, the ankle, or the toes, and then look out underneath the right armpit. If you're in that side twist, slowly release, bring the shoulders back down to be squared against the left leg. And then inhale, rise back up. Bring the right leg out to meet the left. Give him a little bit of a windshield wiper, maybe a little pitter-patter to get the blood back into him. And then when you're ready, bring the left sole of the foot into the right thigh. Turn the shoulders toward the right leg. Make sure that you're nice and flexed in the right ankle. Inhale, lift the arms up. And then exhale, bow forward. To make this more of a side twist, you take the left hand to the top of the leg, wherever it may be, feet, shin, knee, and then look up under the armpit. Slowly release that. If you're in the side twist, bring the shoulder to be squared back down toward the mat, and then inhale to rise back up. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears once you are stacked back up. Release the left leg out to meet the right. One more time, little windshield wiper, little pitter patter. Take your legs nice and wide off of the mat. Big old middle split here. Scoot your pelvis forward if you need more sensation here. Stay nice and flexed. I know you can't see my ankles, but your feet are nice and flexed here to protect the backs of your knees and your calves. And then we're just going to go ahead and lower down to your degree. If you have a yoga block or a prop that you want to maybe put your forehead on, if you can get all the way down there, go ahead. And just crawl down to your degree. Hi, Mary Jane. How are you? Where's your breath here? Really, really, really strong breath in through the core, because this is also very, very, you may not even be able to focus on your core because of how intense the sensations can be in your legs, which is totally fine. Breathe into that sensation in your legs. And obviously stop wherever your legs really start to yell at you. We can breathe through discomfort, but not through pain, right? Slowly, when you're ready, start to crawl the hands back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Take the hands to the outside edges of the legs. Close them like a book. One more pitter-patter here. Windshield wiper, those legs back and forth. Bring both of the soles of the feet to touch. We did this at the beginning of class, only we were laying down. So now I want to do it while we're sitting up. If you'd like to kind of bounce your knees, you can do that. Just gets a little bit more into the hips. Take your hands, interlace them around the toes. Inhale and get nice and tall. And then exhale, bend the elbows, pulling your chest forward. Really focus on, so once again, we've been focusing on the third solar plexus and the fourth heart center, right? For the chakra centers as well as the physical centers, of opening them and stretching and allowing that energy to open up and be more free-flowing, yeah? So, with the soles of the feet together, holding on to the toes here, you inhale, get nice and tall. I want you to think about bringing the solar plexus, bringing the belly button down to the big toe. I don't want you to round through the heart space, which would then be closing this off, right? You have to stay lifted, stay nice and tall, continue to pull yourself down toward your toes, but really focusing on bringing the third chakra center, the solar plexus, toward the big toe and staying open across the fourth center, the heart. Yes? Breathe deeply. Stay really active in these arms, pulling you down. You may feel this in your hips. You may feel it on those inner thighs still. I personally feel it right in my chest. Breathe super deeply. One final inhale. And an exhale out. Inhale, release and rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Bring your hands to the outside edges of your knees again and close them like a book. Heel toe the feet out past hip distance. Let the knees knock together. Bring the hands up, parallel with the mat. Tuck the tailbone. Scoop out the core. Engage. Really breathe deeply into this solar plexus and core area. And as you exhale, you get lower. Inhale and pause. Exhale, lower. Inhale, pause. If you need to extend your legs all the way out, you can, but if it's more comfortable to have them bent like this, or it may be more challenging, whatever you need. But you are going to lower all of the way down to the mat, slowly but surely, taking your time, really firing up that core and engaging, embracing the shake. When your shoulders hit the mat, inhale the arms up overhead, extend the legs out long, point the toes away from you. Full body stretch, full extension all the way from the top to the bottom. And then on your exhale, lower the arms down along the sides. Let the feet splay open naturally. Nice. Beautiful. Okay. One more thing here before we get into Shavasana, before we start meditation. So you're laying on your backs. On an inhale, let's bring the knees into the chest. And then from here, I would like you to extend both legs up. Your hands can be behind your head. Your hands can be behind your knees. Wherever is comfortable for you to be able to support the legs to allow the energy to drain all back to the solar plexus and to that core, right? You're replenishing this energy source, yeah? You just did some movement. The blood is flowing through your legs. So physically, you're bringing all that energy back into your core, into that chakra center that we keep going back to. And energistically speaking, we've had a long day. It's been a long day. So allowing this energy to come back to nourish the self-fire and that solar plexus energy is just a nice way to kind of give yourself a reprieve at the end of being so starved or being so drained or so overstimulated emotionally. Because, hey, there's also a ton of healthcare workers and a ton of people who have essential jobs that have to get up and go to work every day and deal with this crisis in a totally different way. So allowing yourself a moment to gain that energy back, to bring it back, stoke your fire, in a sense. If you are holding the backs of your knees, make sure that you're kind of allowing the shoulders to melt into the earth too. I just realized how much I was holding, and I had to consciously relax my shoulders and chest into the mat. There's always something. And so being able to bring the mind-body connection into your daily life is a way to help connect the mental body, the observer, to the physical body, which is where we house emotion. We store emotion on a cellular level. Go ahead and bend those knees into your chest. Give them a hug. Maybe bring the forehead up to the knees. Roll around back and forth, side to side. If you'd like to take a happy baby at this time, or anything else that you need to complete your practice, go ahead and do so. But you're going to go ahead and lower those feet down to the mat when you are finished. And then eventually extending the legs out long on the mat. We're going to come into this Shavasana, a period of silence. And if you want to stick with those visualizations that I gave you throughout class or at the beginning, or if you are just tuning in now, While you're in this Shavasana, if you just want to tune out and relax and melt into this moment of stillness, you can do that. Or if you want something to focus your breath on, you can imagine two balls of light, yellow for the core, pink or green for the heart, and they get big on the inhales, nice and bright, and then on the exhales, they get a little bit more concentrated, maybe a little dimmer, and then inhale to breathe life into those spaces again. Check in with the jaw, bring the tip of the tongue away from the roof of the mouth, and on your next exhale, relax the space between your eyes. You can have one hand on your stomach and one hand on your heart space at this time if you want to further that connection, or if you just want to extend your arms out long, palms facing up, you can do that too. So this is a period of silence, just a period where you can just let that practice and that movement be absorbed by your body. And I will bring you out of this with my voice when we are done. And I hope that you enjoy this. Shavasana. Take a deep breath in through your nose and a sigh out the mouth. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. If you would like to come up to a seated position for meditation for the end of class, you can roll over to your right side and slowly push yourself up to seated. I invite you to, if you are sitting up for meditation, I invite you to get a pillow or a prop underneath your hips to get your hips above your knees to allow for a nice natural stacking of your spine. And if you would like to remain laying down, of course that is an option. If you'd like to take one hand to your stomach and one hand to your heart for meditation, you absolutely can. If you'd like your hands at heart center with your thumbs pressed into the heart space, you can do that. Or if you'd like to make a lotus, you can do that too. And you do that by pressing the thumbs into the heart space with your hands in prayer position, and then you keep the thumbs and the pinkies connected, and you open the other three fingers, and it kind of looks like this beautiful flower that you're holding. So you can do that too. A couple different hand options for you today. For meditation, your eyes can be closed or they can be open slightly. You can pick something to stare at. I really like to have a candle lit, and I'll stare at the candle. I think that's a really nice visualization as well. It's soft, it's warm. Wherever you are right now, if your mind has wandered, bring it back to noticing the inhales and exhales. Taking a couple breaths to allow this connection to deepen. Maybe you notice that your mind begins to wander now that you're not moving as much, which is totally natural. The mind's job is to think, and is to keep us safe by thinking and overthinking. But there is certainly a time and a place where you need to take a step back from constantly thinking and connect to your breath. Taking the time to connect as the observer to the body, to the vessel that we've been given, is a superpower in and of itself. And we all have the power and the capacity to foster this connection and to really grow to know yourself. And that's one of the main purposes of the heart center, is instead of focusing on the bottom three chakra centers that are focused on community and relationships and your self and where you fit in that world, that external outside force, the heart space, that power center of true self-love and compassion, is where you start to compartmentalize and pick out what is good for me. What do I need? What do I love? What makes me happy? So you had your first three chakra centers, root, sacral, and solar plexus, of developing where you fit in the world around you. Now focusing on that heart space of, where do I fit within me? This deep introspective path of getting to know yourself is very daunting, and it is a practice. It is not something that will come overnight, which is why the practice of mindfulness and sitting with the thoughts that come up and with the sensations in your body and breathing through them, not judging them, not getting caught in the story of your mind about those feelings and about those bodily sensations, but just about letting them be. And noticing if this makes you uncomfortable, or if you can just sit in that uncomfortability. to take this mind-body connection one step further is while you're sitting in silence with yourself, when you start to feel some type of way, whether it's good or bad, see if you can notice where you're feeling that in your body. Do you feel it in your gut? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel grounded? Or do you feel afloat? Check in with the jaw. Bring the tip of the tongue away from the roof of the mouth or the back of the teeth. And on your next exhale, relax the space between your eyes. All that the practice of mindfulness is doing is offering you a chance to experience if you're constantly thinking about what you're feeling and getting caught in your own story, you're not experiencing it, you're taking control of it or attempting to. Because that's what we do, right? We have to be in control. But if you can just let go and sit with the racing thoughts, letting them go. You don't have to perseverate on them. You don't have to sit with the thoughts, but they will come up. You will get distracted. Gently bring yourself back to your breath. Speak kindly to yourself. When I first started this practice, well, altogether I was 10 years old. And as I grew through that teenage angst, getting to know my inner voice was painful. I was very mean to myself. But eventually that voice will soften. The love will grow. And ultimately, you will grow as well. If your mind has drifted, bring it back to noticing your inhales and exhales. Wherever you are, bring your hands to heart center. Press those thumbs into your heart space. Tuck your chin down toward your chest. Lift your chest toward your head. Bring the head and the heart closer together. The light and the truth in me sees that and honors it in each of you. Namaste, everyone.